Well, hello and welcome to a new edition of Squared Circle Radio Live, a live edition. Not after Monday Night Raw. That happened earlier this afternoon, but we are still in the evening time. We appreciate you hanging out with us, whether it is your first time or you are a returning guest. We appreciate that so much. That's the Young Buck Andy York, and my name is Chris Belcher. And Andy, we have a pay-per-view on a Sunday, and it's not a two-night event, and it's in the afternoon. Things are a little strange. We're going to ESPN for the next pay-per-view. It's like, man, just when you think you have all the answers, as Roddy Piper says, they change the questions on you.
Yeah, they changed the questions, and they don't really seem to care about the last pay-per-view going into into Peacock. It feels like it's but yeah, listen, it's been a weird week with news and everything else, and some things happening a lot quicker than we thought it was going to happen, which has turned the wrestling world into a frenzy. Which it doesn't take much to do that. So
that's true.
Yeah, there's a lot to dive in and talk about.
The internet wrestling community instantly gets set on fire anytime something happens, and then you get both ends of the spectrum of opinions, no matter what it is. So we're here to find some sort of common ground and try to weed through all of that, and just let you know where we stand and maybe where you should stand as well. I'm not saying that we're the authority on everything, but we're pretty smart. WWE seems to do a lot of things that we think they should do. So we'll see. I don't know. But again, if it's your first time checking us out, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're following if you're listening on podcast. We would appreciate that so very much. Like the video, that helps the algorithm. Share the show on your social media. We'd appreciate that. And if you're listening on Sports Wire Radio or WSN, make sure you keep it locked in right here for some more great content that will be coming up after us. I'm sure you heard some great content before us, so keep it locked in to our partners there. We would appreciate that so very much. Andy, Clash in Paris coming up this Sunday. Like I said in the intro, not on Saturday, so very interesting there. Obviously, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, probably because it's the opening weekend of college football. WWE was pretty smart in not putting a pay-per-view on the first Saturday of college football, especially because they're going to be in Paris. So the show's going to start at like, I think 1 p.m. Central Time, maybe 2, something like that. And they're running right up against Texas, Ohio State on Big Noon kickoff. So they were thinking. So you got to give them credit there. So we're going on Sunday, and we are headlined. Seemingly, nothing has been confirmed as far as a match card yet, but the World Heavyweight Championship is on the line in a fatal four-way. Seth Rollins defending against Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk. Now, lately, Andy, it seems like that in these multi-man matches in WWE, or at least with the women, maybe not as much with the men, but with the women, feels like there's always an odd woman out in their case. Do you feel like that there is an odd man out in this fatal four-way match for the championship, and why is it Jey Uso?
Yes and no. Like I can see where you're coming from. Yep. I think Roman's promo from Raw kind of like made sense as to why Jey is a part of the match.
Of course, yeah.
But I don't know if he feels like the odd man out. I just think they've done not the greatest job building this fatal four-way. And so because of that, it feels like none of them really deserve to be there. Like it feels like we should be heading towards CM Punk versus LA Knight more than it feels like we're heading towards a fatal four-way for the championship. So I don't know necessarily if Jey Uso is like the odd man out in the scenario. But he like not being there right after SummerSlam was a weird move. And then kind of just this scattered booking throughout that they've done for him. I don't know. It's not been the best build for. I think the matches are going to be great. I think the matches are going to rule, but the build up to it has not been what it probably should have been.
Which is really interesting because Cody Rhodes is not going to be on this show. Seemingly, we all thought it was going to be Cody Drew on this show, and I think they're doing a great job. When you step back and you look at it from a big picture, doing a great job of building that and making that first confrontation bigger rather than to rush it. So kudos to them on that. Having said that, you want this championship match to feel important. You've got 4 star-studded guys, Jey Uso, CM Punk, LA Knight, and Seth Rollins. So you want it to feel big. I honestly think the reason maybe that it feels so scattered and the reason that maybe it doesn't feel as big as it should is because there's a huge Roman Reigns sized hole in this match that everybody seemingly thought he would be in, or he would, you and I speculated, work his way into somehow. And we're not doing that. We'll get to Roman's match in just a second, but do you think that has anything to do with the booking, or is it just we're trying to get these guys on the card? I don't know. I'm like you. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know if it's necessarily because Roman's not in the match that it feels, I don't want to say less than, but it just doesn't feel like it's being built properly.
Right.
Even though he's been right in the middle of all the good parts of the build for that championship, has also involved Roman being involved in it too.
Exactly.
So it would make sense for him to be part of it, but he's not. I don't know. I feel like they want to get to the next pay-per-view. They want to get to ESPN. They've got big plans probably for WrestlePalooza. They've got all this ideas for that. And so this is just like what's in the way. They have to get this out of the way. Well, how do we do that? We have Roman on the card against Bronson, and we put 4 of our top guys on Raw in one match. You don't have to build to it. The match will be great, and we'll just go from there. That's what I get more of than them trying to process why Roman's not it and everything else. Just get Roman on the card, put these 4 guys in the title match. They probably don't want Roman to lose right away. So put these 4 guys in there and then move on.
I think there's a real good chance, if we're looking ahead here, that we're building to Roman getting a shot at the championship at Crown Jewel, which is in October. Is that right? Yeah. So I think that's probably what he may end up on the card of WrestlePalooza, but I think we're probably building towards a championship match at Crown Jewel. And maybe you get that CM Punk LA Knight match that you're talking about at WrestlePalooza. As a result of this match, I don't know. I think there's a lot of different ways that you could go with this. All of these guys, with the exception of LA Knight, are former world champions. So, and LA Knight, I know. And if LA Knight wins the match, nobody is going to blink an eye and be like, oh, he shouldn't have been champion. Anybody that wins this match is going to be deserving. Having said that, Andy, when we preview these PLEs, we always have to make a prediction. So you technically predicted correctly at SummerSlam, and you went with your heart and your brain that CM Punk was going to win the championship. He just didn't leave the event with the title.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's another Money in the Bank floating around out there unless MJF decides to jump ship. So I think we're okay.
Which if he's going to do it on anybody, he'd do it on Punk.
That is 100% fair. Wow, that would send shockwaves. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna make a prediction: fatal 4-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Andy, who comes out champion?
Oh man, I want to say Seth, just because I don't think they want to have a title change on this show, and they just want to get through this show to get to whatever's coming up next.
Okay.
But because of that fact, I'm not going to pick Seth. I'm going to go with LA Knight. I think if you're going to put the title on him, why not do it now? Maybe even he turns heel in the match, goes after Punk, whatever the case is, pins Punk. That could be the next feud going into WrestlePalooza. You can do that. And then maybe that's how we get to Seth Roman without the title being involved. Because I could see that also taking place at WrestlePalooza, because I have a hard time believing Roman's not going to be on the first show on ESPN too.
I agree.
So I think that could be a possibility. So because of that, I'm going to go with LA Knight to finally win his first world title. And every time I pick him in one of these, he never wins it. So I'm sorry, but I'm picking LA Knight.
Okay. All right. I'll go with because that's seemingly not your gut pick. So I'm going to go with your gut pick. And I am going to take Seth Rollins in this match, not because they aren't going to have a title switch or anything. I think Seth Rollins, I think the best way to keep the momentum of this group is for him to be champion. I think we were treading water for a while without a direction. Him saying that he had all the power and that he had a plan, nobody was buying it until it actually happened. So now that it's happened, we cannot let it go, in my opinion. So I think Seth holds on to the title, and I think eventually, I love your point about getting to Roman Seth without the championship, because that makes sense. Whether they do that or not, I think we get them with the championship at some point. Maybe not in the near future, maybe at WrestleMania. That's a way down the road prediction. But I think to make a match, I think Roman maybe is not advertised for WrestlePalooza, but he shows up. I think there's a chance that he faces Braun Breaker. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think coming out of this Fatal 4-Way, you get finally the third one-on-one match between Seth Rollins and CM Punk at WrestlePalooza. And there's a good chance that we get there. So I'm going Seth. You're going to go LA Knight. We'll see what happens. Speaking of the OTC, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, taking on Bronson Reed. And listen, Andy, I remember talking about Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins when it happened last year. And it was like, what are we doing? Why are we letting Bronson Reed do this? Why? And here we are a year later running it back with a bigger star and Roman Reigns. It seems like on the outside, just like it was for Seth Rollins, a step down for Roman Reigns. But dude, this is going to be awesome. They're going to low key outside of the Fatal 4-Way. This could be match of the night right here.
Yeah, I really think it could too. I don't know if it's a step down for Roman, because I think Bronson has done a fantastic job since he's come back to make himself feel maybe not on like a Braun Breaker level, but he is that like that next step up for Braun Breaker. I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be great. I think Bronson has shown that he can really go with it, just about anybody. I mean, he put on great matches with Seth. He's put on great matches with Sami Zayn, Jey Uso. I think him and Roman can really go at it. I think we're going to be talking about not necessarily how the match ends. I'm not going to get to my prediction yet, but I think we're going to be talking about how good Bronson Reed looked in this match, how great of a showing it was for him. Because I could really see a scenario where Bronson and Braun turn on Seth and they have their own thing going with Paul Heyman at some point. And then that's going to be like the big feud that we're going to be building to is between Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, maybe for a title post WrestleMania, maybe something like that. I could really see that being the Evolution version of this breakup or the Visionaries version of an Evolution breakup. I could really see something like that happening.
Yeah, I think all of the listen, that's the beauty of this whole, no matter if you're building properly to this Fatal 4-Way or not, and then you throw in Braun, and then you throw in Roman, and all 7 of those guys, and you can even throw in a handful of other guys from the Raw roster. The landscape is wide open as to where they could go, and it's all really good. It all makes sense. It all is like, oh, I didn't think that would be a good match, but man, I'd love to see that, kind of thing. We thought the same thing before Braun got put together as a tag team. It's you and I didn't have that on our radar that's what we wanted to see. But man, when they put them together, it's like, oh my gosh, this is like Skyscrapers 2.0. Like, and it's or Natural Disasters 2.0, however you want to put it. Like, these two guys are forced to be reckoned with. So I'm like you. I don't think it's a step down for Roman Reigns either. I just think from maybe a big 5 casual PLE viewer, who only sees Roman Reigns in these high-profile matches will look at it and doesn't follow the week to week and be like, what is he doing with this? He's about to show you what he's doing with this if you pay attention, because you talked about how good Bronson Reed is going to look in this match. He's only going to look as good as Roman Reigns is going to let him. And judging by all of these sells that Roman Reigns has had on Monday Night Raw, listen, he's going to make him look like $1 million. The future is bright. You laid it out, man. The future is bright for Bronson Reed, and Roman Reigns is going to get him there.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I think he's, the next step up. And you got to listen, wins and losses absolutely matter in professional wrestling. That's a hill I will always die on when people say wins and losses don't matter. They absolutely do, because if you look at
perception's reality.
Exactly. Like if you look at, Karrion Kross or some of these other guys when they first come in, like when the whole problem with Karrion Kross's very first run when Vince was still around is because he lost like 4 times right away, like back to back times. Or like, you don't want to bring somebody in and just have them lose instantly. It's like wins and losses do matter. But in a situation like this, Bronson Reed can lose and still come out looking like a star, looking like he belonged in that match. In a lot of ways, this could be like...
That's not just because he's a big guy either and could just tear you limb from limb.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I think this could be like, I think it was from Monday Night Raw way back in the day when it was Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker.
Yes.
And like Taker it was a great match, and afterwards was like, I won, but like you held up your own. You looked really good. I think that's the perception that we're gonna get from Bronson Reed coming from this pay-per-view, or at least that's what I hope we get.
City Kitty in the chat. I think Roman is having the most fun I've seen him have in a long time. The opening was wild tonight. Yes, it was. Let me zero in on Roman Reigns for a minute, because we've been giving Bronson Reed his flowers and being like, listen, he's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. Let me just zero in on Roman Reigns for a minute. Andy, I feel like I say this every single time that we talk about Roman Reigns, but I have to say it again. The aura of Roman Reigns is absolutely insane. Like, Andy, I don't know why it baffles me every time he's on my television screen, but superstar is not even the word for it. Yeah. Like him coming out today on Monday Night Raw and the reaction that he got, they were doing the soccer chant before the music even stopped. It was just insane, man. Think about this. Paul Heyman said it in his promo 5 years ago this week is when this version of Roman Reigns was born. We have been on this run for 5 years now. And now I'm not going to go down a Vince McMahon rabbit hole and booking, but I will say this. This is what Vince envisioned for Roman Reigns. He didn't know how to get there. He had no clue how to get there. Clearly, we've had bumps in the road on the way there. But you got to give him credit, because this is what he saw. Triple H helped kick it into high gear. Nick Khan helped kick it into high gear. Yeah. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman kicked it into high gear, and we got where we got with the collective effort of everybody. Andy, it is so wild to me how big of a star that he actually is. It's insane.
I mean, I think it's not a stretch to say he has as much star power as anybody in WWE has ever had.
Agreed.
Including Hogan, including Austin, including Rock, including Taker, like all those guys, when their music hits, we were in the building at WrestleMania 38 when we heard the glass shatter and we knew it was happening. Yep. And yet it still gives you this chill that nothing else can give you. You're in an arena, you hear the gong hit. It sends a chill down your spine every single time because of who it is. Yep. When you hear Roman's music hit, the whole atmosphere of the arena completely changes.
Yep.
Completely changes.
Yep.
So I completely agree. I think he is finally where he is at, but I don't think any other version of Roman could have gotten him to this point. I think it had to be when it happened.
Yep.
Is the only way that they could get here. Because the pandemic, that era of wrestling was the best thing for him because it was like he was able to flesh out his character without having to worry about the crowd's reaction in the arena. Like that's, and you know, that sounds crazy for a wrestler to say, but for Roman, like the dude could have walked on water before the pandemic and we'd have found a way to boo him. Like it's how we were conditioned to deal with Roman Reigns. But the pandemic completely changed that to where even when he was the bad guy, people still loved to do his stuff. People like threw up the ones and they chanted, they chanted Bloodline and they chanted everything else at him, Tribal Chief. They acknowledged him, all this other stuff. But I think City Kitty is right. Like him, you can tell on his face, there just seems to be like a weight lifted off his shoulders. I think holding the title for as long as he did was great and it was awesome for his character. But this version of Roman without the titles is so much more compelling than the version with the titles.
Yeah.
And so I am so excited every time he shows up. I think he's doing great work. His promos, he's able to still be the tribal chief, but get a pop and a reaction and play into the crowd more than trying to shut them down.
Yep.
I think he's doing a fantastic job with it.
Yeah. I completely agree. It just, I cannot say it enough how much it baffles me. Just every time he's on my television screen, it's like, I didn't know that I could like Roman Reigns any more than I do. I didn't know that I could have fun watching Roman Reigns as much as I do. And then he does something else and it's like, oh my gosh. And then Andy, the fact that they wove him throughout the show today on Raw, like we talked about that a couple of weeks ago with John Cena and how that felt really cool to have John Cena throughout the whole show. And now they're taking advantage of Roman being there and using him throughout the whole show. That was cool for sure to have not only Andy for him to cut that promo about Jey Uso at the beginning of the show, but to be the one to give him the pep talk backstage.
Yeah.
That was super cool. And again, this side of Roman that is the opposite. He talked about it tonight. He's not the same guy that he was. He's different than he was. He said, maybe I could be that guy, or maybe there's some of that in me, but now he's visually and verbally bringing people up with him like Jey Uso, and it's so strange. The dichotomy of the beginning of the bloodline where he was tearing Jey Uso down and he told him, I have to do this to bring you back up. We didn't know where we were going in 5 years, but here we are. It's crazy, man. It's so crazy.
It is. I mean, it really is. I mean, if we were in the same house together in 2018 when Roman won at SummerSlam, and just the horrible reaction that guy got, not just in the arena, but at your house from me personally.
Yes.
If you would have taken 2018 Andy and Chris and put us here and heard what I just said about Roman Reigns, I'm pretty sure my past self would punch me in the face for saying that about him. But that's just how much he has grown in the business and how, like, I think honestly, just putting him with Paul Heyman, the light switch flipped and he's like, I get it now. I know what I have to do. I understand what I have to do. And they were able to capture lightning in a bottle. And now he is one of, if not the biggest professional wrestling names of all time.
Not only that, man, one of the biggest, and we're getting on a really big tangent on Roman Reigns, but I don't care. One of the biggest knocks on Roman that everybody made fun of him for, including John Cena, was his promos, and with Heyman, the combination of Heyman and the pandemic allowed the microphone to be taken out of Roman's hands until he could craft what he wanted. And he could just say little things here and there until we got to exactly where he needed to be. And then it's like, okay, hand him the microphone. But then you had Heyman talking for him. You had the pandemic where they could re-record things and get it right. And like you said, give him the chance to grow into this character. And now he's just having a blast, like you and like City Kitty said. All right. Tangent over. It's prediction time. You said you weren't going to spoil your prediction earlier, but now it's time to bring it. Bronson Reed, Roman Reigns, Clash in Paris. Who you got?
There's no way Roman loses this. There's no way. I think Roman wins. I also think both will get involved in the main event somehow.
Yeah.
But I think this probably kicks off the show.
Yes, I agree. Yep. I agree.
I think you kick off the show with Roman's music, get a massive pop.
Or Cena, Logan Paul. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's
one of those.
It's one of those.
Well, one will go on right before the main event. The other will be the show opener. But I think Roman wins. I think he gets the massive win, and whatever is next for him after that.
Good chance there's a beatdown at the end. Breaker shows up, and maybe Roman's not standing tall at the end, and that's how he comes out in the main event. Ribs taped, and he's just struggling to get to the ring. But here comes Superman. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? The ending of the pay-per-view could end up the way that Raw ended earlier today. So just mass chaos. Would not shock me. Speaking, Andy, of mass chaos, WWE is finally going to force me to watch this match. Of course, I'm talking about the good old-fashioned Donnybrook between Sheamus and Rusev. I haven't watched any of these matches yet. I've literally fast-forwarded through all of them. I've said that on this podcast, and you've watched them all. So when we put this stipulation on Sheamus and Rusev, what should we expect?
You should expect the match of the night. That's what you should expect.
Okay.
I am not even joking. I think you put both of these guys in that kind of environment with the kind of crowd that they're going to have.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect place for them to be. I think if you want Rusev's first PLE coming back, this is the perfect way to do it, the perfect time to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how excited I am for this. When they were talking about doing it, I've just figured, okay, this is probably going to be where the Dominic AJ match is, like the Raw after the Clash in Paris. It'll be on Raw. It'll be a big deal, but it won't be on the pay-per-view. I'm very happy they put this on the PLE. I'm expecting really, really big things from it. I think it's going to be an absolutely killer match.
It's going to be vicious. If there's anything that I can say about it that I know about these two guys, listen, all respect to Sheamus and Rusev. They can wrestle. I cannot. Okay. Neither of them do it for me. They just don't. And I don't know what it is. They just don't. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they're bad, because I don't think they're bad. Clearly, they're getting a pay-per-view match. They're both very long tenured in the world of wrestling. Tremendous success in WWE and outside. So clearly they're doing something right. They just don't do it for me. But like I said, WWE is going to force me to watch this match. I will watch it. I will not get up. I will not fast forward. I won't do any of that. You've got my word right now on this podcast. I'm going to watch this match. What I'm not going to do is watch this match and say, oh, let me go back and watch the other matches between them now because I'm so excited. That's not going to happen. But I'll take it's not. I'll take your word for it, though. I don't think it's going to be match of the night, but it will be very brutal because these two guys yes. Mm-hmm. These two guys are really good friends and they're going to beat the absolute snot out of each other.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I think we're going to have some broken barrels. It would be like when they did the best of 7 series, if they did Sheamus versus Cesaro with that stipulation, it would be the same kind of result that we would get. Yeah, I agree. All right. Prediction time. Who are you going with in this one? I think Rusev wins. I think they want to get him a big PLE win. And I think they have to get Sheamus. I think that's a perfect way for them to do it over Sheamus and in this environment. I think, like you mentioned, they're just going to beat the crap out of each other for 15, 20 minutes. But I think Rusev gets the win. I agree. I completely agree. I think Rusev's first PLE back, I think he has to have the win, especially if you're going to make him any kind of threat at all. I think he's got to win.
City Kitty in the chat, they have to get Rusev out of the 80s gym. I wondered about that because he wore traditional tights. They were high-waisted trunks when he was in the company last time around. And then when he went to AEW, he started wearing the loose gym short look. I don't know. City Kitty, I don't know if they're going to get him out of them or not. I think
maybe more comfortable to wrestle then.
You would think so, but we're not going to get into that. We are not going down that path. We've got 2 more matches on Clash in Paris that we're gonna preview, but right now we're gonna have to take a pause, catch our breath, and hear from the Reverend Tom Bryce in SportsWire Radio.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck because SportsWire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. With great shows in the world of sports, such as the Pinstripe Chronicles, hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows. New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska. The Liftoff Jets, also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip. Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind. Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat. In the world of wrestling, SportsWire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio, featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress, featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on SportsWireRadio.org, and you can also catch SportsWire Radio anytime on YouTube at SportsWire Radio 6579 to catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. SportsWire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on SportsWire Radio. I am your host, the owner of SportsWire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you to the SportsWire Radio crew for all your support for Squared Circle Radio. And thank you to all of our listeners for checking out our show, all of our viewers, whether it is your first time, whether you're a returning guest. We appreciate that so much. Do us a huge favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you a thing. It helps us a ton. We're not going to send you an email. We're not going to do any of that. Just please hit that subscribe button. Share it on your social media if you're enjoying what we're doing. If you're listening on podcast, please hit that follow button. And if you feel so inclined, a 5-star review would go a long way. We would appreciate that so much. That's the Young Buck, Andy York, and my name is Chris Belcher. We had some pretty consistent viewership last week, Andy, on an episode that we really honestly didn't think that highly of. And we had some pretty good viewership on that and the clips that we put out. So we appreciate that so very much. If you're returning to us because of that, thank you. We hope that we are, again, doing something that you like. 2 more matches, Clash in Paris. Let's go, Andy, to the one that was made earlier today for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch defending against Nikki Bella. Andy, I know that a lot of people are probably not excited about this, if I'm being honest. I am. And I think this is a nice... It always seems like Becky gets these generation versus generation matches. It's like it's the generational dream match of, what if this version of Becky Lynch went up against X or whatever. Because Becky and Nikki were in the company at the same time before Nikki hung it up full time. But this version of Becky is totally different. And we saw that in the promo today, man. The promo between these two, Becky got the upper hand, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and then Nikki really threw some shade today, and then Becky turning right back around and throwing Ozzy Osbourne's death under the I mean, I thought it was really, really good, and they really sold this match.
Yeah, I think this has been the best build for the entire pay-per-view. It has been this one. And credit to Becky and to Nikki for doing their part and for cutting those promos. I'm wondering if this was thrown on the PLE last second because of the Naomi Stephanie match not being able to happen.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so I don't know if they just had a quick build to it because they may have had plans for it later on, but they've done a great job of it and they've done a great job of building to it. I'm excited for it. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I'm not the biggest Nikki Bella fan. I've never been the biggest Nikki Bella fan, but I do think she can hold her own against somebody like Becky.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a really special match. I think the crowd's going to be into it. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know where we go from here. Like, that's my only thing with Becky still having the IC belt is I don't know where we go from here. And if Nikki wins it, then really where do we go from there? Because I don't know of any like heel women on Raw that could go after that title right away.
I think it could definitely be a feel good moment if Nikki wins, but I ultimately would see her dropping the title back to Becky very quickly, like the next night on Raw or the following week or, whatever, if that were to happen. Full disclosure, I don't think it's going to happen. I do think Becky Lynch wins. And you're right. I don't really know where they go from here because the Lyra thing has to be done. It seems like Stephanie is going to be Stephanie Vicaire is going to be in the championship picture some way, somehow. Maybe Becky winning this somehow gets her into the championship picture because the title is vacant and you just have her and Stephanie or her Stephanie and somebody else in the title picture for the time being. And you kind of shelve the Intercontinental title at least until the world title gets resolved. That could be a direction that you go. You could have Becky just come out and say, look, I've proven that I'm better than this. I issue basically an open challenge and, I beat whoever you threw at me. So, just give me the world championship, whatever. I don't know. You could go any way with that. But you're right, Andy, that we're not stacked as far as the women's roster is concerned on Monday Night Raw. So especially losing Naomi and you've got Rhea Ripley seemingly tied up in other things, Roxanne Perez they're all kind of off to the side. Who knows when Liv Morgan's coming back? So yeah, we're kind of in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. I think there's a really good chance Becky wins. But the more you talked, the more you kind of talked me out of her winning.
Okay.
Because I could see her losing at Clash, and then she's the one that Pierce puts in, because he talked about that today about next week having something official. Maybe it's Becky versus Stephanie for the title.
Yep.
I could see them putting the world title on Becky with Naomi being gone to build something down the line.
That's a good call.
Unless they are doing this just to do Becky versus Lyra for the title, because please don't do that.
No, please don't. I mean, you could still have her be Becky 2 belts. You could put her in the match and she could
have her in the match and she loses to Stephanie. Like, I think that's a big possibility too.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that they would do that. But if Stephanie was going to I feel like Stephanie's not going to win the title just yet. I think if she were going to win, they would have left the match on this show and found somebody to put in there just so she can win it there. But I think the reason they pulled it is because she's not going to win yet. Becky, perfect replacement for Naomi. Let's be honest, Andy, if Liv's not coming back anytime soon and you're not putting the title on Rhea, who's the next biggest star to put it on? Unless
they do something with this Bayley character. I think that's the wrinkle in this this whole thing is what is Bayley going to do when she gets back, or Bianca even too.
Oh, that would be huge if it was Bianca next week.
And maybe Stephanie versus Bianca.
Oh, that would be huge if it was Bianca next week. And now with Naomi out of the picture, you don't have this looming heel Bianca that we've all talked about
until Naomi gets back, which is the fun part of her being champion along the run.
Could you imagine? We're just going down rabbit holes on the show. Could you imagine if Bianca was champion when Naomi came back, and Naomi, the way she comes back is revealing that it was Bianca as the mastermind behind the entire thing? Dude, that'd be wild.
Or if Jade's champ. Like if Jade is champ, Naomi and Bianca, maybe there's a rift between Bianca and Jade going into, wherever we're at in 9 months or some change. then I could see her coming back and be like, "Oh yeah, you guys are friends. By the way, Bianca, wasn't it you that told me?" And just kind of play into that even more. I think that'd be great.
All right, official prediction. I'm going Becky Lynch. As a lot of different ways we could go, a lot of different scenarios that make sense. I'm going to just stick with Becky.
I'm going to flip a coin. It's Becky. Let's go, Becky.
Okay.
I have no idea. It's a 50-50 shot for me.
Well, this one, much like the Roman Reigns match, I don't think is going to be a coin flip. Wait, City Kitty says Bianca would be awesome. Yes, Bianca would. I don't think this one's going to be a coin flip. I think we're going to agree on this one, but I'm could be surprised. The last match on the Clash in Paris card, the only SmackDown match on the card, which we'll talk about in a minute, John Cena and Logan Paul. Andy, when John Cena's retirement tour was announced, Money in the Bank 2024, who is the one person I said that he has to face? The one.
Yeah.
Logan Paul. And here we are. Now, that means my expectations are through the roof for this match. John Cena's 5 moves of doom are going to be on display. It's going to be the most beatdown of John Cena, Super Cena comeback, 3 AAs, 1 from the top turnbuckle, 1, 2, 3 that I've ever seen John Cena do. But it's going to look so good. I'm excited for this. How do you feel about it? Because I know you've kind of been,
Yeah, I mean, it's one that I thought we were going to get at some point. I thought we kind of escaped it when we had them team together for a while. That's what I was kind of hoping for. I think Cena said it best in his promo. The reason why they hate this is because they feel like I'm wasting my time on you. And I think that sums up my feelings perfectly, which means they're doing what they want to do and they're doing it right by doing this match.
Yep.
I don't have as high of expectations probably as you do. Just because I know Logan Paul is great in matches, and I know Cena is great in matches when he has the right opponent. I don't know how well they're going to mesh together. That's my biggest concern. Because Cena's great, but there are certain people that you think they're going to have really good matches with Cena is, and then you watch and you're like, oh, that just wasn't.
Yeah.
That something wasn't there. Something's missing.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see a full-fledged babyface Cena versus the biggest heel in the company go at it in a match, because we haven't had this in a long time with Cena.
Yep.
Because obviously he was babyface Cena at SummerSlam, but he was going up against ultra babyface and Cody Rhodes.
Right.
So now we're getting the full picture of it. And so I think that aspect of it, I think it's going to be hard to deny when we get to it.
Yeah, it's ultimate heel versus babyface here. And that's why I think it's going to be so good. It's because this is what Cena is good at. And I'll say this. Cena's been in there with some fantastic wrestlers. AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, probably the top of the list. And we know how those matches went.
Yeah.
He's never been, I'm not saying that Logan Paul is better than those guys, so don't twist my words here, those of you who are listening or watching. But Cena has never been in the ring with anybody like Logan Paul. And I think putting them in there together, because Cena still has a great mind for the business. Now we get to see the full heel versus babyface on display with arguably the best athlete that he's ever been in there with. That's why my expectations are so high, because I just don't think Cena has to do much in this match. I think he can play the hits in this match and they can hit a home run and it'll be great. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I could see that too. I don't have that confidence in Logan to be able to carry the match, if that makes sense.
For sure.
Because yes, he's been in the ring with guys like Seth and like AJ and like Roman and like all these other stuff, all these other great wrestlers and people, but they were in their prime still and able to carry the match. With Cena, I don't know if you can get that. However, one thing Cena has that no other human being has on this planet is ungodly amount of strength. Yes. So he's able to do anything to anybody at any point in time still. So I think the match is going to be good. I just don't know. It's going to be hard to top what we just got with Cena versus Cody. I think that's going to be the hard part.
Right. It is certainly going to be a step down from that. I don't think we're topping that in any way. City Kitty in the chat. Will Logan Paul bring the brass knuckles with Cena? You better believe he's going to bring. You better believe he's going to hit him. And it's 1-2 kick out Super Cena comeback. That's how it's going to happen. Like that's how it starts.
It's going to be so weird to see people cheer for Super Cena.
I know.
It's so weird to see that.
They chanted it at SummerSlam. So
that's what I'm saying.
It's not going to shock.
We got Super Cody that night too. Like Cody was about as bad as Cena's ever been that night.
We did. I got one more point to make about this match, but let's get our predictions first because my point ties into our last topic of conversation here. So I'm picking Cena here. Clearly, are you picking the same, or are we going upset?
I'm going Logan Paul.
Oh, what?
I think Logan Paul is going to get this win I think he does hit him with the brass knucks. I think he kicks out, but I think there's going to be something else that happens where Logan Paul is able to cheat his way in. Maybe Drew gets involved.
Yes.
And costs Cena the match too. I just don't think we can have, I know he just lost to Cody, but I think this is completely different. I think Cena needs to lose once or twice. And I think out of everybody on the roster, the one person Cena would probably handpick to lose to is Logan Paul, especially going into this match with Brock at WrestlePalooza. You're just putting even more doubt in his head going into that match. So I'm going to go with Logan Paul.
All right. I can justify that prediction. I understand it. I think Cena is losing his last 2 one-on-one matches, so I think you have to get a win here because if he's involved in War Games, which he's advertised for the event, I assume he's going to be in War Games because he's never been in one. And I assume that he'll get the win somehow, some way. That's just a guess. If that's the case, this is his last traditional one-on-one match before he loses his last 2. Because I don't think there's any way he beats Brock. And I think he could.
I think he does right now.
I don't think he does.
I think he loses to Logan and beats Brock because make sense. I can't, but
if Brock is only back for the Cena match, then yes, Cena wins. If they're doing anything else with Brock, then Brock wins. I don't know. And then go ahead. Yep.
Well, no, we got a whole month to build to that. Yes. My mind every time I think of this match, I think they're going to repay or revisit what happened at the 2014 SummerSlam where Brock squashed Cena basically.
Yeah, it was the SummerSlam. It was the SummerSlam after he beat Taker. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna get back to that, and Brock is just gonna beat the crap out of Cena for the whole match, but Cena wins in the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Very possible. Very possible. But it seems like you mentioned him a few minutes ago, possibly getting involved in this match. Seems like we're going to get Cena versus Drew at some point on this run. Maybe it's the last one. Maybe it's at Survivor Series. Maybe it's at Crown Jewel. I don't know. But it seems like we're going to get it. And I want that one to be his last one. I think that would be an excellent way for him to go out. Because I always have wanted him to go out against Cody on the last one. But I think we've seen the best shot they can give us. I don't think there's
don't go back to it.
There's no reason to go back. So still lots of possibilities left, but I think we're building towards Drew. Having said that, Cena was on SmackDown this week. Drew was on SmackDown this week. Logan Paul was on SmackDown this week. Surprise appearance by Randy Orton on SmackDown this week. Yet you texted me earlier today and said nothing happened again on SmackDown. Come to the table with your reasons. I'm not saying that I'm going to push back on you because I do think, to continue our conversation from last week, SmackDown has some sort of problem. So you're the one bringing it to the table. What do you think? Not saying you got to solve it, but why was the problem this week?
Again, we're not advancing any stories other than Cena and Logan Paul. I think that's been my biggest complaint for the last month with SmackDown, and in some ways even Raw. Like tonight, we can only get the same ending to Monday Night Raw 3 weeks in a row before we need to do something different.
Right.
And then we're getting the same, versions of Penta versus ex-member of New Day, and we're getting, the same kind of promo style back and forth between Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch, which was great. It's awesome. But you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect it to be fresh or new or, do something different. And I think with SmackDown, there is not enough important or exciting stories going on outside of Logan Paul and Cena right now. I think Drew Cody can pick it up easily when Cody gets back from filming. I think that one will be a no-brainer. But outside of those two, like, the women's title doesn't feel important. There's nothing really even being built with it.
Yeah.
The U.S. women's title means absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
The women's tag titles are fun because they're on Charlotte and Alexa, but I feel like that gimmick is going to run out really, really quickly if we're not careful.
Sure.
So I don't feel like, I don't know if it's necessarily that we don't have enough star power like we talked about last week. I don't feel like we have enough engaging stories going on to keep people interested in week to week.
Yep. I brought it up just a few minutes ago, man. I think it could be a result of only one SmackDown match being on the pay-per-view on Sunday. Like, that's the only one. So there's not enough engagement everywhere else because they're not building to anything directly right now.
Yeah.
I wrote down in my notes too. Julia, I don't think has wrestled a match since she won the title, which if she's hurt, she's hurt. But
that's the theme of the U.S. women's title, though. It feels like as soon as somebody wins it, then they're just like, good job, you won it. You're not wrestling for a month until you lose it.
City Kitty says we need another good story with Randy. Seems like we're going to get there with Drew. That's probably a stopgap for Drew on the way to Cody. I would assume Drew's going to win that, but it's always fun to see Randy pop up literally out of nowhere, unexpected. That was super, super cool. But let me address the women's world title real quick. That main event was a whole lot of confusion to me. Why I understand trying to team up people that don't like each other. Like, I understand
Can they coexist?
I understand the wrestling intrigue of can they coexist. I get it. But Jade and Tiffany is dumb. Jade's already lost to Tiffany. We don't need to revisit it.
Yep.
Aya and Becky makes the least amount of sense of any team ever. They acknowledge that they don't like each other, but why do you even do it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You could have had Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton one-on-one, had a DQ ending with Nia Jax and Jade Cargill getting involved, gotten the same result that you got, and it would have felt so much better because you would have had Tiffany versus Becky. Now, having said that, Becky was fine on the show. I was okay with her being there, but like you said, the women's championship picture is I don't know what it is. And something else that I pointed out right after SummerSlam, this tag team division has no direction whatsoever.
Nope.
And I said it right after SummerSlam. I said, what now? You literally put them all in one match. What now? How do you build meaningful storylines with these teams without the goal of a championship being right in front of them? And they've done a terrible job of it.
Well, even on the Raw side, the tag titles don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like somebody else wins them, and then Judgment Day just takes them back a couple months later, and we're right back where we started, a couple of months ago. I think they do a great job of the world title. Like they make the world title feel important for the most part. I would argue this build has not been the best going into this show. I think they make the WWE Championship feel important. Especially when you guys like Cody and Drew and Cena fighting for that title. I think that's really important.
Yep.
But then, the U.S. title with Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn, like, we're starting to build to that. We're starting to build stories with that. But do we really want to see another Solo versus Jacob match at some point down the line? Or, all of this same things that we're getting over and over and over again. I think that's my biggest problem is we're just getting the same thing time and time and time again on both Raw and SmackDown. I think the only thing we got different was the R-Truth segment with Aleister Black and Damian Priest, which that was great.
That was
when
super cool.
When he flew to Dublin, Georgia instead of Dublin, Ireland, and then Damian Priest was back to do it. So I think that is a promising step in the right direction, but we need something else. Like we need more of that.
Yep.
And I just don't feel like we have the pieces to do that on both shows.
I think we're in a desperate need of a draft, of a shakeup.
Yes.
I think we need something. And we have, Andy, you and I have often said that Triple H builds non-championship stories seemingly better than he does championship stories. And it just, this is evidence of it. One thing that I wrote in my notes, I didn't address, you mentioned the women's tag team championship. I did not address this. It is clear beyond a shadow of a doubt that Vince McMahon is not in charge anymore, because there's no way that Piper Niven beats Charlotte Flair under Vince McMahon's direction. There's no way on planet Earth. No
absolutely
way.
Not. No.
I was shocked, floored that happened.
Yeah. They love champions losing. They love champions losing on weekly TV. I don't get it. I don't know.
I know.
It's weird. Honestly, I think like there are some people in NXT right now that I think the main roster needs. I think a Jordan Grace to Monday Night Raw would be huge. I think that would be fantastic for her. Obafemi is just like waiting to take over one of those two shows when he gets called up.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like Ethan Page on the main roster is just money waiting to happen.
Yep.
And so I think they could call him up. I think they could call, Ricky Saints up. I think they could call, there's a lot of really strong talent in NXT.
Yep.
That when they get called up to the main roster, they can fill some of these voids. Because like we're talking right now, everything's great. And like we've got some stories going on. The best stories on SmackDown have been with Cena. And guess who leaves in a couple months? So like, what are we going to do after that? If you're focused all on one guy and he's leaving at the end of the year and not coming back, where do you go from here? Like, where do you go after that?
Yep. Yeah. So I think the solution here, if we're presenting the argument, the solution is we have got to have a draft, a superstar shakeup. We got to split some of these people apart. We got to do something with them. All right. You mentioned them earlier real quick as we get ready to close up shop. Appreciate you guys being tuned in either live or watching the replay. If you've got comments and questions, make sure you drop them in the chat. We'll get to all of those. Karrion Kross popped up in GCW at Homecoming alongside Scarlett as they helped Shotzi defeat Matt Cardona. And now there's an event pretty soon. I don't remember the name of it. That Karrion Kross versus Matt Cardona, Karrion's first match post WWE against the number one star on the Indies. I mean, you talk about knocking one off and making a list. You started with the top dog, so pretty impactful.
Yeah, I think it's very impactful for him. I'm excited to see him back out. He looked really good. Got a fantastic reaction when he came out. Him and Scarlett both. I'm excited for him. I hope this is for bigger and better things. This kind of showed me I don't think it's a work anymore, even like at all. I think he's done with WWE. I think he's on the independent scene. He may pop up in TNA from time to time. He may, we may see him in AEW from time to time too. But I'm excited to see what he does on the independent scene, and I'm excited to see the impact that he can make at places like GCW, or if he comes to the new Nashville promotion as well. Like I think things like that would be really, really great for him. So I'm excited to see what they do. I really am.
Shout out Pro Wrestling Symphony of those guys in Nashville. Yeah, I'm anxious to see what he does too. I think it's not a work. I still think there's a good chance that it's, hey, go make a big name for yourself in the Indies and we'll bring you back next year or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? All right. that's going to do it for another live edition of Squared Circle Radio. We appreciate you guys being with us. Clash in Paris coming up this weekend, and it is the last PLE on Peacock. Andy, it is the end of an era. ESPN is the new home for WWE PLEs, beginning with WrestlePalooza on September the 20th in Indianapolis, going head to head with AEW All Out, which is what it is at this point. But ESPN, man, this new app and all of this, like, I think it's easier than what people realized. You know, if you got a cable subscription, whatever. Have you tried your YouTube TV yet?
I have. It worked.
It works. Okay.
See, it worked as of now. I'll let you know Saturday when it comes to college football games and stuff. I'll check it out then, but I think it worked.
See, okay. So YouTube TV subscription gets you right in there. So everybody freaking out over nothing. It's just insane. Anyway, beside the point. All right.
You just need Fox to figure it out. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Fox and YouTube TV are in a fight now, and the deal runs out Wednesday. I swear, if I can't watch Texas Ohio State because of it, I'm coming after you, Fox.
That happened to ESPN last year.
Yeah. They waited the last minute.
And they fixed it. It's fine. You're not going to miss Texas Ohio State. You're not. It's fine.
Better not.
If you don't get it, come to my house. I've got daggum bunny ears. All right.
Yeah.
And we'll watch it.
We'll watch it there.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, I think Kentucky plays at 11:45 too. So
there we go. Fine. It's fine. All right, man. Anything else to add before we sign off?
No, just another fun week in wrestling. Forbidden Door this past weekend. We had Clash of Paris this weekend. I'm excited, man. There's a lot going on.
There's a whole lot going on. Keep it locked in right here to Squared Circle Radio. We will keep you as up to date as we possibly can, and then some. All right. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. Make sure you subscribe on the way out. If you haven't already, hit that follow button. If you're listening on podcast, leave us that review. Like the video, all of those things. Yes, City Kitty, rabbit ears for the win. You got it. That's it. That's it. All right. Thanks so much for being with us here on Squared Circle Radio. And until next time, catch you guys down the road.